Welcome to the Forum and Happy New Year. I'm your host, Sheila Evans. We're kicking off this show with a preview of this year's Beethoven 15K and 5K races. Ed Four will join us shortly to tell us more. After that, John Mosley will stop by to talk more about the 154th anniversary of the Battle of Fort Fisher. Then to wrap up the show, newly elected Board of Education member Judy Justice will chat with us about what she hopes to accomplish this year. It's going to be an exciting show with three amazing guests, and we'll get started right after this short break.
Global 3000, a DW production. Little things can have a huge impact throughout the world. The Globalization Magazine, Global 3000.
I am joined by two guests. To my close left, I have Ed Four, and he is president of Five Star Race Productions. And to my far left is Nicole Thompson. She's marketing and operations director for the Wilmington Symphony Orchestra. And both of you are here today to talk about the 6th annual Beethoven 15K 5K. Oh, 15K. Ed, let's pick on you first. What is different about this event than other 5Ks in the area?
The course is absolutely beautiful. It's in a beautiful planned community of Brunswick Forest.
Okay.
It has some unique features. It has a one-third mile long elevated boardwalk. It goes through some pretty neighborhoods. It goes around a lake on a paved trail right beside the shore. So it's really cool in that respect. Plus the distance is a little different. It's that middle distance between a 10K and a half marathon. So it's good for a lot of runners.
So does that really change the face of who's coming to your race?
It does and it doesn't. The elite runners definitely want to get out there and try that new distance, but folks who've done 5Ks and 10Ks and are looking at a half marathon really want to try that middle area of 15K sometimes. So we get the elite runners all the way to the first time person doing a longer race.
Okay, this might be a funny question. I know it's called the Beethoven. Do people like dress up?
We have had that in the past. We've had costume contests. We're not actually doing that this year, although some people might still get into it. I don't know. But yeah, we've had people running with cello cases on.
Oh my gosh, really?
Yes.
Empty cello case.
Well, that's good.
Empty,
That's good. Are there awards for this race?
There are. The 15K runners all get a finisher medal, which is unique. It has the Beethoven caricature on it.
Cool.
And it's really neat. And then everyone gets, usually it's a mug. In the 5K, we give out age group awards that are nice medals, and we do trophies for the winner groups.
Okay, so we have the 15K and the 5K. Is there a fun run or anything involved?
There is. This year we've added a new 1 mile doggy dash, we call it.
Okay.
And folks can run an untimed 1 mile with their pooch.
Nice.
Some of them carry them. Usually they run with them. But
Sounds like so much fun.
Everybody gets to participate that way, so it's a nice addition.
Okay. Do you need volunteers to help out with this race?
Well, yes, we always need volunteers. Personally, I haven't worked the race myself, but Ed is usually there organizing the people, and I know that we do use volunteers at the water stops and at the beginning and ends of the race, I think.
Oh yeah, and at all corners too. The residents of Brunswick Forest support the race a lot.
Nice.
And they also, the fitness center sends out emails to residents, and we use the Nextdoor site out there, and plus we have a large group of folks that come back every year.
Do you have a vision where maybe high schoolers could come out and volunteer for that day and maybe earn Beta Club points or National Honor Society hours, something like that?
Maybe, yeah. I mean, certainly
We'd
can
welcome
explore
that.
that, sure.
Okay. And talk to me about registration. How does that work?
You register online normally. We can supply a hard copy registration form, but you just Google Beethoven 15K 5K, or you can go to the Symphony website and there's a link to registration there. Most folks register online.
Okay, very good. Nicole, let's jump to you.
Great.
I assume the Symphony somehow benefits from this race.
Yes, this event proceeds benefit the Wilmington Symphony Orchestra and its youth education program. So we have two ensembles for youth. One is the junior strings for 6th through 8th graders. One is the youth orchestra for 9th through 12th And also we have what we call the big orchestra in the office, which is our main orchestra, and it has about 65 to 70 players. We produce 7 concerts per year at the Wilson Center, and then we do four youth concerts per year at the Keenan Auditorium. One of those concerts is a free family concert, so that's annual that we do that, and that is absolutely what this race goes to support.
And those youth programs are definitely have a lot of students from Hennepin County schools involved.
Yes, and surrounding. We draw from a 6-county area. We have about, I can't remember what the latest count is. I think it's about 75 kids in the youth orchestra and about 40 to 50 kids in the junior strings. So our last concert, we also partnered with the Girls Choir of Wilmington and the Wilmington Boys Choir. So we had about, I think, 150 kids or more on stage together making music, and it was quite wonderful and inspiring.
And it is a unique opportunity in
Yes.
that they travel from 6 counties.
Yes.
My children were actually involved, and there was a mom that drove a van with kids from Swansboro.
Yeah.
Wow.
You know, what an opportunity to provide that opportunity
Yeah.
for students.
Yeah, and it gives kids an opportunity to play in an orchestra where they may not have an orchestra at their school, but we do try to supplement the school programs. So yeah, it's a great
So why basically should people support the orchestra and the youth programs?
Well, I mean, mainly the orchestra has been here for almost 50 years. We're getting ready to celebrate our 50th season in a couple of years, and it's just been a long-running, wonderful organization to this community, providing entertainment and also, like I was saying, the wonderful benefit to the children that we foster them and provide them with a positive experience musically, and they get to meet other kids that have their similar interests, and there's some of them go on to play in our main orchestra. Some of them go off to college to study music. Other people, as a young person studying music, it benefits you no matter what field that you go in forever. Right. Absolutely. So it just builds those positive skills, and so I think it's a great thing.
And is the family concert the one where sometimes those students sit next to a member of the adult symphony?
Not usually, but we have discussed that, and that's something we might do in the future.
I think in the past there was a concert where they were paired up with someone who played a similar instrument. That was kind of a cool opportunity for some
definitely.
mentoring and that kind of thing.
Definitely.
And to see that it is a lifetime gift.
And our youth orchestra kids are directed by our conductor Stephen Arante, who's got his doctorate from Juilliard, so he's a wonderful guy. He's also a UNCW professor, so it's a wonderful opportunity for them to be mentored by a really wonderfully gifted musician.
Right. So not only does he do the orchestra, he works with the youth as well.
Yes, and then our junior strings is directed by Lisa Gattuso, who's also a music teacher. And so, they just really get wonderful guidance and, like you said, wonderful mentoring from quality people who really care about the kids and who are also providing them with wonderful music instruction.
Nice.
So, yeah.
Thanks, Nicole. Now, Ed, remind us one more time when this race is.
It is January 13th at 9 a.m. The Doggy Dash is at 8:35, so all the runners who do the 5K, 15K get to see those folks do their thing. It's really neat, and everybody's welcome. Walkers are welcome, strollers are welcome.
Great.
We're open to everybody.
Thank you, Ed, and we'll be back in a few minutes right after these messages.
Your company can join these local businesses in offering students with disabilities the much-needed experience to compete in today's job market.
To see the kids every day come in and certainly have a sense of accomplishment and do a job well done, it's very enriching to not only the kids but also to all of us around here.
For young people with disabilities, participating in mentoring programs, job shadowing, and internships are great ways to make them stand out among other job applicants.
I'd say it's kind of a win-win. I mean, not only are you doing the right thing for the community and these kids, but you're also allowing them to grow and get the skills necessary to be successful in the future.
Internships serve as skill-building tools for students to obtain vital career development. If your business would like more information on how it can benefit from adding a student intern from New Hanover County Schools to its roster, please contact the Special Education Department now at 254-4445.
They're doing a fantastic job and we couldn't be happier.
I am joined by John Mosley. He's the Assistant Site Manager at Fort Fisher, and he is here today to talk with us about the annual commemoration of the Second Battle of Fort Fisher. So John, tell us what the purpose of this program is.
Well, our purpose of our programming at Fort Fisher is to help tell all the stories, everything that was unique about Fort Fisher, because most people do not understand, especially with a lot of parents and students moving into this area, what was so important about Fort Fisher.
Gotcha. So what's scheduled to be part of the program?
Well, this year we always choose a theme, and this year we're focusing in on most of the stories that we never hear about.
Oh,
In
cool.
fact, this year we'll be talking about Native American and African American stories, mainly through the impressment and the construction of the fort. Most people aren't familiar with that part of the story. We're so used to talking the military side. We really don't get a chance to tell about those stories that we don't get a chance to hear about, and so we have two speakers that are coming in, Dr. Lowry and Dr. Martinez, both from UNC Pembroke.
Nice.
They're going to come in and talk about their research on these topics.
Oh, very good. Now, what will it look like that day? Will we have reenactors and that fun kind of stuff as
We're
well?
going to have a lot going on for anybody and everybody, not only in addition to our two speakers. We've got reenactors coming from all over the state to be a part of this. It's a living history demonstration. They'll be outside camping and cooking. Their infantry units are going to be doing demonstration. We'll have naval units there. We'll also have the site's 32-pounder and 12-pounder and a 10-pounder gun going off during the morning. So there'll be lots of activities. There's even a kids activity where the kids can learn about the life of a soldier.
Now, a 32-pounder gun, is that a cannon?
Yes, that is.
Okay.
Now, prior to certain time periods, the cannon was rated by the weight of the shot. And so
Okay.
once you get past a certain time period, you start looking at the bore or the inches of diameter of the cannon.
Okay.
So in this case, the 32-pounder would shoot a 32-pound solid shot about 2 miles. And so
Oh my
literally,
gosh.
yes. So the neighbors don't like it when we put real cannonballs in there, so we just fire blanks. But it is possible, if the air temperature and everything is just right, that when we fire that 32-pounder, you can hear it about 4 miles away.
Wow.
So it is an amazing thing to hear.
And how many times do you fire it? Are you limited to one time?
No,
is that
we're
kind
going
of
to
a
be.
thing?
We're
or?
firing it. We fire it 8 times during the
Oh,
day.
cool.
So at 10 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 2 o'clock, and 4 o'clock, we'll be firing the cannons. So we'll have the 3 guns in Shepherd's Battery. We'll be firing them throughout the day. Usually 2 shots every time.
That is
every
so
2 hours
cool.
with 2 shots.
So why is Fort Fisher so important?
Well, Fort Fisher was really a unique opportunity in American history. It was the largest amphibious operation undertaken by the United States until June 6th of 1944, the invasion of France in World War II. It has 72 Medal of Honor recipients. That's 4th highest in United States
wow.
history. In fact, if you were sitting in a cafe in Paris, France in February 1865 and opened the newspaper, you would find a picture of Fort Fisher and a story about the attack that happened on January 15th, 1865. This was a world-class event. There was a lot going on here. 40% of the troops that attacked Fort Fisher were part of this campaign were African American. For those people who've actually watched the movie Lincoln by Steven Spielberg that came out, the first 45 minutes is all about how Fort Fisher plays into that whole political process of getting the 13th Amendment passed.
Very cool. When is this program?
Well, this program will be January 12th. It's going to be from 10 o'clock in the morning to 4 o'clock in the afternoon. There'll be activities going on. It is free to the public and open for anybody that wants to come on down. Parking will be at the museum area. We'll also have overflow parking all in the area. Just listen to the sound of the gunfire and keep driving south and you'll find us.
What else do you think might be something, you said that the kids will be able to participate in what it's like to live that way for a day. What else do you think might be interesting to some kids or even teenagers? Besides cannons, I think that's pretty cool.
Well, the cannons and the rifle fire bring everybody out. You just got to have that. There's something about that mechanical, the noise, the action, and what happens. And most people don't understand the force of just even a blank round going off. And if you imagine 44 cannons going off at once, it's pretty earth-shattering.
So you'll do all, you said 3 sizes,
So
right?
we got 3
So you'll
sizes
do
of
all 3
guns.
sizes at the same time?
Yes,
Oh,
ma'am.
wow.
So you can get the full effect. I
Right.
mean, it's amazing to feel the concussion when those guns go off. We'll also have opportunities for the kids and families to actually go in and talk to the reenactors, to see where they slept, to look at the tents, to find out more about the uniforms, what was going on. Inside the building, we actually have information about the January event, more of these personalities that were at Fort Fisher. Of the 25 African American Medals of Honor awarded during the American Civil War, one was for Fort Fisher. And that's something that most people do not know. Bruce Anderson was a pretty unique, interesting individual by himself. And so they can find out about him by looking in our Medal of Honor display.
Gotcha. So it starts at 10, wraps up about 4,
Yes, ma'am.
and family friendly.
Very much so. Very much so.
Reenactors, the cannons, a lot of learning
Speakers.
opportunities, especially for kids by accident.
That's true, and you know you never know what you're going to find out about. We'll also have opportunities for the kids. You know, when the cannons are firing off, it's one thing. We do have fragments that we use for teaching tools. You want to find out what the part of a 32-pound shell feels like, the weight of it. While you can say it's a round ball, 32 pounds, but what do you do when you hold that fragment in your hand?
Wow.
It's pretty amazing.
Very cool. Do you ever need volunteers for this event?
We always look for volunteers to help us out for this and many of our other programs that are going on throughout the year. We saw over 900,000 people at our site last year.
Wow,
And
that's
so
impressive.
we are always looking for volunteers to help us tell this story. And it's one of the biggest things that we have going on right now.
Okay, and lastly, where can somebody find out more information?
Well, if you'd like to find out more information, they can call the site at 910-251-7340. They can also go onto our state website, which is nchhistoricsites.org,
Okay.
Fisher, or they can go onto our Facebook page, which Fort Fisher State Historic Site has one. And we keep updated
good.
with pictures and information about not only this program coming up in January, but all of our programs that cover everything that we do up until World War II.
Very good. Well, John, thanks for stopping by and letting us know about Saturday, January 12th. Hopefully a lot of folks will come out.
Thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it.
Very good. We'll be back in a few minutes, right after these messages.
Get connected with your school system. Your School News covers news that matters for parents, guardians, and Greater New Hanover County. Stories about preparing students for success in a changing world. Stories where students are achievers.
Internship, we pretty much made a vehicle from spare parts, and at first we made it so it just moved, and then we made it so it was an electrical vehicle.
Stories of teaching where every child yearns to learn.
Today is all about STEAM. STEAM is kind of the key word to tying art into science, technology, engineering, and math.
Your School News brings viewers more than 8 hours of school news and information, reporting on what's happening in the district, what students are learning, how the school system operates, and beyond. Your School News, only on this channel.
I am joined by Judy Justice, and she is one of our newly elected school board members for New Hanover County Schools. Judy, first off, help us understand, well, give us a little bit about your background.
Okay, I'm actually from the area. I grew up in a
Nice.
little town north of here called Swansboro. Wilmington was a big city back in
It
those
was,
days.
yes.
Yeah, it's a big city now compared to then. And I did several other things in my life, but after I had children, I decided to go into education because
Nice.
I discovered how wonderful it was. So I actually ended up teaching at Laney all through the 90s.
Oh, okay.
And then went into school administration. Both my degrees were from UNC Wilmington over here, and worked in other parts of the state. Ended up as principal, assistant principal, and central office administrator. And then when I retired, I decided to come back home. Of course, this is my home, and I love it here. And when I got back 3 years ago, I was rather surprised to see how the schools had possibly progressed or not progressed while I
Okay.
was gone. And that's mainly the reason I decided to run, because with my education background and knowledge of the community and actually the people that work in the school, so many of them, I decided to go ahead and say, well, I think I've got some good ideas here that I know can help our schools. So
Very good.
that's where I'm from. I'm from here, and I'm committed to our schools here.
Excellent. So what would you say would be one of your main goals?
There are several.
Okay.
But one of the things, when I was running at first, I was interested in redistricting. Everybody was, because I was looking at the statistics, and when you've got the 6th wealthiest school district in the state and you've got 34% of the kids failing, something's wrong. Then you start looking at the individual schools and see that we had 4 or 5 consistently failing schools over time. You knew something was wrong there too. So that was what interested me at first, was the redistricting the past districting obviously had something to do with that. Anybody that's got education knowledge knows this. But then once I threw my hat in the ring, things started popping up that people were coming to me. And I realized it's more than just what's gone on in the past. We need to make sure that in the future we start changing things such as accountability and especially transparency. I was hearing a lot from staff, all kinds, not just teachers, other staff members, parents, even some students, of course, piped up.
Nice.
Yeah, of course. That, you know, people don't communicate in this county, and it's tough to work in an environment where there is almost fear at times for reporting things that aren't functioning right or suggesting ideas.
What is your expectation for the working relationship with you and other board members?
Well, you know, I think I'm looking forward to it. I think we're going to work well together.
Good.
Obviously, this is a partisan county as far as school board elections go. I wish that it was nonpartisan, so we didn't have to look at political parties. But during the last election, 3 Democrats were elected and 1 Republican. I've already worked with 3 Democrats, obviously, during the election, trying to help each other get elected. And I know them. Since I was elected, the other school board members and I, we both reached out to each other, the ones that are remaining, and it sounds like they've got the same goals in mind.
Good.
They want quality education for all of our kids. We were listening to each other. I'm impressed with how much they know. So I feel good about working with them. So I'm looking forward to it.
Good, good. What would you say you think is one of the biggest challenges facing our schools today?
Lack of understanding of what we need to do. People are so busy in their lives. Their kids are so important to them, but they have to focus on their daily lives and their home lives. And schools are almost a mystery to a lot of people.
Okay.
The big challenge is to have the community understand that we do need changes, but it's going to take some time, and we're going to have their support. And without their support and without their patience, it's not going to be very effective, and it won't work. So that's what I think that is one of our biggest challenges, is having the community, and I think they are, because I know that was one of the reasons when I was running that I kept hearing, and I do believe that was one of the reasons I was elected. They do want change for the positive in ways that they will support, I do believe, I hope.
And for some folks in the community, school was not necessarily the happiest place they ever spent their time.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, I was referring to that earlier with Nelson, that, you know, people still don't want to go to the school to have a parent-teacher conference, because as the parent, it wasn't necessarily the happiest place for them, is what I had discovered in a job I did in my, you know, other life. But, you know, so those folks probably are looking for an ear to hear.
Right.
Yeah.
And having worked in school at all levels, from a teacher, to a classroom teacher, to administrator, where I dealt with parents constantly, especially as an administrator, I understand that perception totally. Because a lot of the times, the only times the parents feel like they're talking to anybody at the school is when their kid's in trouble.
Right.
And it shouldn't be like that.
Right.
In fact, that's one thing we got to promote is, you know, the positives all the time for all the kids, not just for select kids, but all the children.
Right.
We need to bring the communities more into the school.
So we're talking about the positives. What do you think is one of the strengths of our district?
Oh, absolutely. We have got a great district. We've got great staff. I can't say just one. There's plenty of things. Great students, great staff, amazing resources. I love my home. I'm very proud to be here. I was very happy to come back when I retired. Because we can, as I said, we've got the 6th richest, if you want to put it that way, district in the state. And with all of this at our fingertips or whatever, at all what's at our disposal, we need to use it properly, and we can. And I am really, look, we got UNCW over here, we got PPD,
Right.
Oh my gosh, we have Cape Fear Community College. It's such a wonderful resource. We have the movie studios, the beach, obviously, we got the science end. It's a great
You're
community.
right. You're right. You're right. We've got it all.
Yeah, and the kids can benefit from all of it, and they
Sure.
can learn so well. One of the best ways to learn is through experiential learning, and boy, do we have plenty of that in this county.
Gotcha. Well, Judy, thank you so much for helping us get to know you just a little bit better, and I'm sure you're going to do a great job on the board.
Well, thank you very much. I'm planning to. I'm going to work really hard.
Excellent. We'll be back in a few minutes, right after these messages.
Start your day with New Hanover County Schools, The Morning Show. This Rise and Shine program will put a smile on your face and a spring in your step. Best of all, you'll start the day a little smarter, knowing more about our district leaders and teachers, discovering new frontiers in science and technology, and getting the latest school news from across the district. New Hanover County Schools, The Morning Show, educating all viewers to achieve today and tomorrow in a global community. Only on this channel.
We hope you've enjoyed our program today. For more information about the Beethoven 15K race, you can head over to wilmingtonsymphony.org. To learn more about the 154th anniversary of the Battle of Fort Fisher, visit nchistorocscites.org/Fort Fisher. And remember, if you have any questions about any of the topics we discussed here on the show today, please call the school system's public relations office at 254-4106 or check out the school system's website at www.nhcs.net. I'm Sheila Evans, and thanks for joining me today.